When you wake up as the President of the United States, knowing that every word you speak and every move you make can change millions of lives, how do you find the strength to face a world that never stops watching you?
Strength doesn't come naturally when you're the president. It's something you build day by day. The fear never disappears, but you learn to manage it. Every morning, you remind yourself millions rely on your calm, not your panic. That's what keeps you standing.
Inside the Oval Office, where history breathes through every wall, do presidents ever feel the weight of those who came before them? Or do they learn to silence that voice of pressure and expectation?
Yes, every president feels the ghosts of history in the Oval Office. You look at those portraits and realize every leader sitting here once questioned themselves too. You're just another chapter in a story that never ends.
When the world calls you the most powerful person on Earth, do you still get moments to feel small? To remember who you were before all the cameras, power, and politics took over your life?
Even the most powerful man feels small sometimes. The world may see a title, but inside, he remembers being a father, a son, a citizen. Those moments of humility keep him human.
How does a president find balance between being a national leader and being a husband, a parent, or simply a human being who sometimes just wants peace and quiet?
Balancing leadership and family is almost impossible. The office consumes you. You miss birthdays, family dinners, private talks. The cost of service is often measured in the moments you never get back.
When the world sees the president smiling confidently, does anyone ever stop to ask how much of that smile is real and how much is just part of the performance?
A presidential smile isn't always about happiness. Sometimes it's armor. When the nation looks to you for confidence, you can't afford to show fear. But behind that calm expression lies exhaustion, doubt, and the weight of responsibility.
They say Air Force One is the most luxurious jet in the world. But for the president sitting inside, is it truly freedom in the sky, or just a flying reminder that there's no escape from duty?
Air Force One may look like freedom, but it's a cage in the clouds. There's luxury, yes, but no privacy. Every flight carries decisions, crises, and staff. You're never off duty, even 30,000 feet above the earth.
When a president walks through the White House halls at midnight, does the silence comfort them or remind them how lonely ultimate power can be?
Loneliness is the price of ultimate power. You're surrounded by people, yet you can't confide in most. True connection fades when everyone looks at you through the lens of your position.
What does it feel like to make decisions that can start wars or bring peace, and then try to sleep knowing millions of lives depend on your choices?
You don't really sleep peacefully after making hard choices. You just learn to live with them. Presidents rely on data, faith, and conscience, but some decisions haunt them forever.
In moments of doubt, who does the president turn to? When every conversation could be recorded, and every secret could become tomorrow's headline?
Trust becomes a rare currency in politics. A president listens to many voices, but only a few reach his heart. Sometimes, his instincts become his most trusted advisor.
How do presidents stay grounded when every person they meet treats them like a symbol, not a soul?
Staying grounded takes effort. Family letters, personal routines, quiet prayers, these small human rituals remind the president that beyond the title, he's still just a person trying to do good.
When a president steps onto a stage, with lights flashing and cameras rolling, does he ever wonder what's more powerful? The truth he speaks or the image people believe?
Yes, being president feels like performing. Every word, every gesture, every pause, it's all judged. But it's not acting for fame. It's performing stability, because the world needs reassurance more than honesty sometimes.
How much of a president's day is truly their own? And how much is planned, rehearsed, and scripted to fit an image the public wants to see?
A president's day belongs to the country, not himself. From sunrise to midnight, every minute is scheduled. It's a life where freedom becomes a dream you only remember, not live.
Do presidents ever miss the simple things? Walking alone, laughing freely, or having a conversation without every word being analyzed?
They miss normal life deeply. The small pleasures, driving alone, buying coffee, talking freely, those become distant memories. Freedom, once ordinary, becomes a treasure they can't touch.
When you live surrounded by guards, advisors, and journalists, does real friendship even exist anymore?
Real friends are few. Most people approach a president for what he represents, not who he is. The real ones are those who stay when the spotlight fades.
How much of a president's humanity gets lost when they must constantly appear confident, fearless, and perfect in front of a divided nation?
Over time, you lose a part of your humanity. You speak carefully, move cautiously, even think strategically. You stop reacting as a person. You start responding as a position.
Do presidents ever question whether they still control the government, or whether the government quietly controls them?
The truth is, the system controls the president as much as he controls it. There are laws, parties, and invisible hands guiding every choice. Leadership isn't full freedom. It's managed power.
When the media praises you one day and destroys you the next, how do you find stability in such a storm?
The media's love and hate are both illusions. A wise president stops chasing headlines. The only real measure of success is whether people sleep peacefully at night because of your decisions.
Does the president ever feel like a performer on the world's biggest stage? Applauded for success and blamed for every failure?
Yes, being president often feels like performing on the world's biggest stage. Every speech, every handshake, every facial expression, it's part of a script written by history. The applause fades quickly, but the criticism echoes for years. In truth, a president is less of a performer and more of a mirror reflecting what people want to believe.
When world leaders gather behind closed doors, shaking hands that decide the future of millions, how much truth really exists in those smiles?
Behind closed doors, diplomacy is not always honest. Smiles hide suspicion, and handshakes seal silent rivalries. Every leader comes with their own agenda, and beneath the surface of global peace, there's always a negotiation of power, interests, and survival.
If leadership is about sacrifice, what part of themselves do presidents lose first? Their privacy, their peace, or their authenticity?
A president loses pieces of himself over time. First goes privacy, then peace, and eventually authenticity. You start saying what's safe instead of what's true. Leadership demands sacrifice, but sometimes the price is your own identity.
How do presidents stay emotionally strong when they must announce tragedies, disasters, or wars to the very people who trusted them with hope?
Announcing tragedy is one of the hardest parts of the job. You stand before cameras holding back tears while trying to sound strong. The president must console millions even when his own heart is breaking. In those moments, you learn that leadership isn't about power, it's about empathy.
Do presidents ever get scared, not of enemies, but of making the wrong choice in front of the entire world?
Yes, presidents get scared. Not of enemies, but of mistakes. One wrong word can trigger a crisis. One wrong move can change history. Fear doesn't disappear. It just becomes a quiet companion that you learn to manage every day.
What goes through a president's mind when they realize half the country no longer believes in them?
When half the country stops believing in you, it cuts deep. You try to stay professional, but it hurts to see your sincerity questioned. A president learns that leadership isn't about being loved. It's about doing what's right, even when it's unpopular.
How much of a president's power depends on people's faith? And what happens when that faith disappears?
Power only exists because people believe in it. When that belief fades, authority weakens. A wise president understands that real strength doesn't come from position, but comes from trust. And trust must be earned daily.
Do presidents ever envy ordinary citizens who can make mistakes quietly, while every presidential decision becomes global news?
Yes, sometimes presidents envy ordinary people. The idea of making a mistake in private, without it becoming breaking news, that's a dream. Every decision you make is dissected by millions. There's no room for human error when the world is watching.
When the president's family watches the news, how do they deal with lies, criticism, and the weight of living under constant judgment?
The president's family bears silent pain. They see false stories, harsh criticism, and they can't respond. They learn resilience by necessity. Behind the glamour, being a first family means living under constant emotional pressure.
How do presidents separate personal feelings from national duty when both worlds collide in painful ways?
Separating emotion from duty is nearly impossible. Presidents must make cold decisions with a warm heart. But when personal beliefs collide with national interest, it leaves scars that never fully heal.
Does a president ever wish they could simply disappear for a day? No cameras, no guards, just silence and peace?
Every president dreams of disappearing for a day. No guards, no cameras, no speeches. Just to breathe as a human being again. But power comes with chains. The higher you rise, the less freedom you have.
What lessons about human nature do Presidents learn after meeting both the world's richest and its poorest?
Meeting both billionaires and the poor teaches a humbling truth. Humanity looks the same in every face. The powerful seek control. The poor seek dignity. A president learns that real strength lies in compassion, not dominance.
How do presidents keep their hearts from hardening when every day brings manipulation? Politics and power games?
To keep their heart from hardening, presidents must remind themselves why they started service, not status. But politics can poison purity. Without empathy, even the strongest leader turns cold.
When a president faces criticism, does it hurt less over time? Or does every insult still cut as deep as the first?
Criticism never truly stops hurting. You grow thicker skin, but words still sting. What changes over time is perspective. You learn to focus on impact, not approval.
What kind of pressure does it take to turn a confident leader into someone who doubts their every move?
The pressure is relentless. You wake up to crises, go to bed with uncertainty. Even the most confident leaders start questioning themselves. Doubt becomes a shadow that follows you into every meeting.
Do presidents ever wonder how history will truly remember them? As heroes, villains, or just survivors of their own time?
Every president wonders how history will remember them. But history is unpredictable. It forgives slowly and judges forever. The best you can do is act with integrity and hope that truth survives time.
What do presidents fear more? Losing power or losing the trust of the people?
Presidents fear losing trust more than losing power. Power can be regained, but once trust is gone, leadership becomes hollow. The moment people stop believing in you, your voice loses its strength.
When decisions involve life and death, how does a president find peace with the consequences of those choices?
When a president leaves office, silence feels unfamiliar. For years, every moment was scheduled, every decision global. And then suddenly, the phone stops ringing. Freedom feels strange when you've lived inside walls of duty for so long.
Do presidents really sleep peacefully in the White House? Or do the ghosts of their own choices keep them awake at night?
Yes, most presidents miss the adrenaline, the constant rush of decisions, the urgency of power. But they don't miss the sleepless nights or the impossible choices that come with it. What they truly miss is purpose.
How much truth does a president actually get from their advisors? And how much is filtered through politics and agendas?
It's hard to live like a regular citizen again. People still treat you as Mr. President, even at a cafe. The title never leaves you, even when the office does. And sometimes, that's a burden you never fully escape.
When a president signs a law into action, does he truly understand how it touches the smallest corners of American lives?
Regret visits every president, not because of bad intentions, but because no decision is ever perfect. You can't make everyone happy, and sometimes doing the right thing still feels wrong in the moment.
Do presidents ever get tired of pretending to have all the answers when deep down they're just as uncertain as anyone else?
History is the final judge, cold, fair, and patient. A president can't control how people remember him. He can only hope that, in time, truth rises above politics.
What happens when a president realizes that no amount of power can fix every problem or please everyone?
Many presidents turn to writing after office. It's not about ego. It's about therapy. They write to remember who they were before the world started calling them leader. Words become a way to heal.
When the president's term ends and the spotlight fades, who are they then? A hero, a memory, or just another man trying to live again?
Their families often feel the biggest relief. Finally, dinner without cameras, walks without agents, laughter without fear. The end of a presidency is the beginning of rediscovery for everyone involved.
How hard is it to go from commanding the world to simply being a private citizen once more?
Money stops defining their worth. Legacy starts too. Some become activists, others educators. A few retreat into silence. What they do next reveals who they really were beneath the title.
Do former presidents ever miss the chaos, the rush of making world-changing decisions? Every single day?
Yes, they still get intelligence briefings, but life slows down. The world they once commanded now moves on without them. And that's both humbling and freeing.
When they walk out of the White House for the last time, what emotions truly fill their hearts? Relief, sadness, or pride?
Friendships in politics are fragile. Once power fades, only genuine ones remain. You learn who stood with you for truth, and who stayed only for the spotlight.
How long does it take to feel normal again, after being treated like the most powerful person alive?
Media changes too. The same cameras that once followed every move now chase the next big name. Fame in politics is temporary, but respect, if earned, lasts forever.
Do presidents ever wish they had chosen a quieter life? One without power, but full of peace?
Many presidents admit they underestimated the loneliness of leadership. You're surrounded by thousands, yet emotionally alone. It's a paradox that only those who've lived it can truly understand.
How does it feel to see another person take your seat, your power, and your title, knowing the world moves on without you?
The presidency doesn't end when you leave office. It lives inside you. Every face you met, every decision you made, every life you touched, they echo for the rest of your life.
What kind of wisdom does a president gain that ordinary people might never understand?
The hardest realization comes later. You were never the story the country was. The president is just a chapter in a much larger book written by millions of citizens.
If you could ask every president one question, would it be about power or about what it costs them to have it?
To remain grounded, some presidents visit schools, hospitals, and small towns. It reminds them that leadership isn't about headlines, it's about hearts. Power fades, but compassion doesn't.
And finally, after all the fame, pressure, and politics, what does true leadership really mean? Is it control, compassion, or the courage to stand alone when the world disagrees?
In the end, a president's true legacy isn't written in laws or speeches. It's written in how people felt under their leadership. Did they feel safe, inspired, seen? That's the real measure of greatness.